welcome everybody to Focus TV. This episode is titled Season 5, Episode 44. Very happy to be back with you all this week. As always, we're joined by Octavia Wyatt. We've got Raymond Lyons, Cardo Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarpe Jr. A lot to get through this evening. We're going to talk WNBA playoffs as we have been until their season comes to a close officially. NFC East, as always, week one officially ended last night in this NFL season. Give you guys an update on DC United, and then we'll see what Cardo has for us in rapid fire. One of the topics, just owners being owners in professional sports. Just man, they need a shakeup in that group because y'all just. I don't know how you do it, but you guys will see when we get to that point. Just kudos to you, I guess, for never changing. I don't even know if it's the right way to say it, but Octavia, we'll start with you in the NFC East.
Yeah, so NFC East first week one of the games. There were some crazy games that happened this week. But I'll go ahead and get started on what happened in the NFC East this week. So we'll go ahead and start with the hometown, Washington Commanders. I have to make sure I remember to say that and not the other name. The Washington Commanders played against the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. They beat the Jaguars 28-22. Carson Wentz in his debut was 27 of 41, 313 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 6 carries for 12 yards. Antonio Gibson had 14 carries for 58 yards and 7 receptions for 72 yards. Then we had Terry McLaurin, 2 receptions for 58 yards and 1 touchdown. Curtis Samuels had 8 receptions for 55 yards and 1 touchdown and 4 carries for 17 yards. And rookie Jahan Dotson, 3 receptions for 40 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 carry for -10 yards. So hats off to Carson Wentz. It was his first 4 touchdown game since he tore his ACL in his left knee when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017. And coincidentally, it came against his former coach at that time. So kudos to him. Although his issues did rear its ugly head halfway through the game. I'll be honest, my game was on at the same time, so I'm kind of flipping back and forth. And I'm like, okay, Commanders are up. I can, relax. Next thing I know, I look and they said, oh, Carson Wentz threw 2 interceptions back to back, and now they're losing. And I was like, okay, that sounds about right. But kudos to him for, going back in and being able to hold it together. There was apparently some conversation between him and Ron Rivera was like, you got to go out there and win. And he was like, I will. And lo and behold, he did. Granted, he does have really good targets. Terry McLaurin, and we see what Jahan Dotson did in college, and we're already seeing what he's going to be able to do in the pros. And then Curtis Samuel, who didn't play most of last year with the nagging hamstring injury. He did sign for a 3-year contract for $34.4 million. And he's starting to show the return on that a little bit so far this year. So granted, 1 game down, we have a lot more to go, but it's very positive for them starting off. They had a lot of people involved. Like I said, J.D. McKissick was involved a lot. Tight end Monty Rogers had a big play as well. So it was an all-around good game for them. It was a home game for them. I heard the stadium was crazy at FedEx Field, which is great for them, as this is the brand new season of the Commanders, since we've gone from that other name and then the Washington team, that was their name last year or something like that. So all in all, they had a really good game. I think their biggest Achilles heel was probably on defense. Their corners were getting burnt, whether it was Kendall Fuller or William Jackson III. So that's one thing that they definitely need to make sure that they get together. But outside of that, their defense held up pretty well. Granted, they held them to 22 points. So not a bad start for the Washington Commanders. Their next game is going to be against the Detroit Lions, and they'll be traveling to Detroit for that game. Next up, I'll go ahead and go to the Philadelphia Eagles, who did play Detroit this week. They beat Detroit 38-35. Jalen Hurts was 18 of 32, 243 yards, 17 carries for 90 yards and 1 touchdown. Miles Sanders had 13 carries for 96 yards in his first touchdown in who knows how long. 2 receptions for 9 yards. Kenneth Gainwell had 5 carries for 20 yards and 1 touchdown, 2 receptions for 12 yards. And Boston Scott had 4 carries, 10 yards, and 1 touchdown. And newest Eagle, A.J. Brown, 10 receptions, 155 yards. All in all, I think it was a great first game. I definitely could see the rust. And a lot of people talk about not having starters play in preseason. I think this is part of that reason. A lot of the starters did not get, if any, very minimal time in preseason to knock that rust off. But again, definitely thought Detroit was going to be a lot tougher than they were last year when the two teams played against each other, and they were. I mean, I can never say his name right. Amon Ron St. Brown. I mean, he's going to be a top tier wide receiver. So he had a great game, and we know what Swift does, and it gets real at times, you know. But on the other side of it, the Philadelphia Eagles, their rushing attack was just as potent as it was last year. Hurts accounted for 33 yards and a touchdown, and AJ Brown, like I said, caught a career high tie and 155 receiving yards in his Philadelphia debut. And I believe it also set a record for debuting wide receivers for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I mean, he was everywhere. I think the most thing that I'm really hearing now are people starting to say, well, now Smitty's going to get mad because AJ's getting all the targets. But I mean, if they can't stop AJ, why would we not keep throwing it to AJ? You know, so and that's what it appeared to be in that game. Like I said, Miles Sanders had his, I would say, first productive game in a while, especially coming back off of a hamstring injury in the preseason. Um, the defensive line held up well. I think Fletcher Cox got a sack for the first time in a very long time as well. And I mean, all the new players really showed up. I mean, Kaiser White with the tip, James Bradbury with the pick and the pick six, running it back. Um, it was all in all a good day. I mean, honestly, the only thing is the defense just probably needs to show up a little bit more. Honestly, granted, I said that Detroit has gotten better. I don't think they should have scored 35 points. But at the same time, you know, first game of the season, knock a lot of the rust off. I think it's good for what it is. The next test, honestly, is going to be next week, as we all saw how, I don't know if everybody's on this same bandwagon already or how good Minnesota is. Um, or if it was just, you know, it's a division game, you get up for those. And granted, it seemed like nobody on the Packers knew who Justin Jefferson was because he was completely open the entire game. I don't think that will happen next week, but it's going to be a very good game as it'll be a Monday night game. And y'all know how much I hate primetime games. But at the same time, Kirk Cousins doesn't like them either. So we may have a chance. So they'll play against them next week. Next, we'll go to the New York Giants. New York Giants defeated the Tennessee Titans 21-20. Daniel Jones was 17 of 21, 188 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 6 carries for 25 yards. Saquon Barkley, 18 carries, 164 yards, 1 touchdown, a 2-point conversion, as well as 6 receptions for 30 yards. Sterling Shepard, 2 receptions, 71 yards, and 1 touchdown. I mean, granted, I think this is the first time in maybe 10 plus years the Giants has won an opening season game. So number one, kudos to them for winning the game. I do probably feel like a lot of people are like, they probably still could have lost the game because, I mean, it seemed like we're starting the season off with kickers just not doing their job by making kicks. That's kind of what happened in this situation too. Had their kicker made a kick, we may be having a different conversation. But they won. That's all you can really say. The ballsy move for Dayball to go for the 2-point conversion after scoring the touchdown to score the touchdown for them. So apparently he told them early on that he's not going to coach scared. He's going to put them in, you know, these situations for them to go out there and prove it. And that's exactly what he did. It was reported that Saquon Barkley gave the coach and the new general manager a game ball saying thank you. And I mean, Saquon Barkley looked great. It seems like this is what he's been saying all off season. He feels healthy. He feels strong. He feels ready to go. And it showed. I mean, he definitely ran very, very well. And it's nice to see him back in his form after that injury that he had a few years ago. And it looks like he's finally, you know, getting his footing up under him. Granted, I hope it's not like that when he plays us, but don't know. They did also have an injury to rookie wide receiver Rondell Robinson. He hurt his knee. It does seem like he's day-to-day as of now. They haven't really given much information about that. And we know Kayvon Thibodeau also did not play. He did travel, but he was a scratch before the game started. So we still have not seen his NFL debut, which I'm very anxiously waiting to see because I want to see how great he's going to look out there as well. They will play against the Carolina Panthers next week at home. So they will have another, you would kind of say maybe a good task for them. I think that these two teams may be kind of evenly matched. So we'll see how that goes for them. Last but not least, the story everybody, of course, is talking about. This is just, it's literally drowning the media cycle. The Dallas Cowboys played against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday night. They lost to the Bucks 19-3. Dak Prescott was 14 of 29, one interception and 2 carries for 11 yards. Cooper Rush was 7 of 13 for 64 yards. Ezekiel Elliott, 10 carries for 52 yards. And Noah Brown, 5 receptions for 68 yards. All to me, all those stats don't sound great. The number one stat, just the fact that Cooper Rush actually had an attempt in the game, tells you that something did happen to Dak. As everybody is talking about, Dak has a broken bone in his thumb and on his throwing hand. He did have successful surgery on Monday. The initial reports was that he would be out anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks. But today, Jerry Jones doing his Jerry Jones thing and having interviews on the radio that he does, it seems, every week. He stated, I think what we're going to do here is we won't be putting him on IR, which means we want him to be consideration for playing within the next 4 weeks. We will not put him on IR. So it was discussed initially, like I said, him being out 6 to 8 weeks. A good comparison that I did hear as well is the comparison that Russell Wilson had last year. Granted, it wasn't his thumb, but he had a similar injury with a broken finger. And he apparently stated that he felt like he came back too soon. So I'm a little concerned that it seems like they're rushing it back for to go from 6 to 8, and people saying like 6 was even kind of a stretch. To now say that they think he'll be back in 4 weeks, I'll be very concerned to see how that is. I would hate for them to put him in a position to injure it even more. That's my concern. Granted, I know their biggest concern is winning games, staying in the NFC East, because as you can tell, everybody went 1-0 this week except for the Cowboys. So of course, they don't want to fall too far behind. The NFC East as a whole has a pretty light schedule for all of the teams in the division. It's not really a strenuous schedule, but the Cowboys do have probably the harder schedule in the first 6 to 7 games. So I can understand it in that aspect, but it's going to be tough for me to see him coming back. CeeDee's first game as the number one wide receiver didn't go great. I think maybe he underestimated how much attention he's going to get. And as you can see, he had 2 receptions, so he wasn't able to get open enough for Dak to throw him the ball. Granted, Dak got hurt in the fourth quarter. Didn't look great through the first 3 as well. The defense played pretty well. I mean, to still keep Tom Brady to 19 points is decent. It was just the offense wasn't able to help them out on that. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott still getting 10 carries, 52 yards. It's still around the same he's done last year. And I think Tony Pollard only had maybe 3 touches. So I'm a little concerned of what their offensive strategy is at this point. And they play against the Bengals next week, which is also coming off of a loss of a crazy game, and another multiple sack game for Joe Burrow. So I would suspect that they don't want to have 2 bad showings like that. So I'm very interested to see how next week is going to go for them. But yeah, also lastly, talking about injuries, we talk about Dak getting hurt. Cowboys safety Jerron Kearse also exited the stadium on crutches. It is reported that he has a sprained MCL, and he is scheduled to be out anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. So, you know, you got your signal caller on the offense out, and you got your signal caller for the defense out. That's not going to be great. So I'm just interested to see how it all works out for them next week playing against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, a very wacky week 1. Very exciting. Looking for.
You said Jerry Jones. You said he expects him to come back in 3 to 4 weeks.
So they're not putting him on IR, and on IR you have to miss at least 4 weeks. So they're not putting him on IR. So the only reason they would do that is because they're trying to say that they think he can come back in less than 4 games.
With a broke thumb.
And I mean, Dak admittedly stated that after it happened, he then felt like he couldn't grip the ball. So I don't understand how you. I mean, to throw it, you probably need to grip it and feel it. So, and I'm great, and I'm thinking like if you have surgery, you're going to have a down period of time to recover from the surgery before you start rehabbing. So you're telling me he's going to rehab in 3 weeks at the most? I mean, I still think he would need at least 2 weeks after surgery. That's just me, but
Yeah, for therapy. I mean, I had a fractured thumb, and my thumb is actually crooked on my right hand. And to this day, like sometimes when I dribble a basketball and shoot it, the feeling just go away. It just feel like it's four fingers on the ball. You know what I mean? And I gotta play with it to get my feeling back. And I'm not. And this is football. More than likely, he's gonna get that hand tap with defenders trying to knock the ball down, trying to sack. Especially if he gets sacked. You know what I'm saying? Or even if they don't get him, they toss him to the ground. He got to break his fall or something. And Jerry's trying to push his franchise quarterback back in a few weeks. Like that's spoken like that's just spoken like a desperate owner, man. And
yeah,
that's ownership malpractice. If
that is
you
probably
ever,
desperation at this point. There have been like rumblings or saying that maybe this is just like a ploy to make sure that Cowboys fans don't give up on the season. Because if they give up on the season, that's a lot of revenue that they'll probably lose. So I don't know how true that is, but that is some of the things that I've read and I've heard that, because everybody, as soon as it says 6 to 8 weeks, it says season's over.
well,
Oh,
why didn't Jerry think about that when he didn't invest in offensive linemen and pieces?
I'm telling you, like one of my favorite Cowboys that I granted I know you guys don't watch the shows like I do, but DeMarcus, uh, I can't remember his running. They call him Swaggle. He used to play for the Cowboys. He is hilarious when he talks about them, and I mean, like he was going off. He was like, "It's over. I don't even know what we're talking about." And I always laugh because Michael Irvin is. I don't honestly don't even know how he got on TV. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like I be like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, when First Take first came back on, he was talking about the Cowboys had a chance of going undefeated like the 72 Dolphins. And I was just like, oh, okay, I guess that's what you think. And he apparently thinks that they'll be okay with Cooper Rush for 6 to 8 weeks. So, I mean, that's what he thinks. Then who am I to tell the playmaker he's wrong? But yeah, it's just a lot. This is a constant media storm with the Cowboys. It happens every year, with them being $1 billion entity. I know that we always have to talk about it, but it's getting a little kind of crazy now because I'm like,
no, they got Lakers. They got the Lakers status. Like they don't exist until they win games. That's just how I gotta go. It's too much.
Yeah, that's crazy to assume that somebody's going to come back from that. Uh, both quarterbacks, team I followed last year, hurt their fingers, different fingers on their throwing hand. Trey broke his pointer finger, which is usually the last finger to leave the ball when you throw. He broke that finger in preseason. That finger wasn't normal until July. Jimmy did something to his thumb, and I think his shoulder. And I think Jimmy said he thought the shoulder was worse than the thumb. The thumb was the thing that he needed to have surgery on. Gripping, if you can't grip a football, bro, I know you don't want to say season, indefinite. Okay, let's indefinite because you don't know. Like Cardell said, if the feeling can come and go, I'm not too bright. I feel like you might want to have a feel of all of your fingers on a football before you throw it. Just me. I don't know too much.
and I did also, I did forget because we were talking about the offensive line. I mean, granted, that's not going to make it any better for them with the injuries that they have on the offensive line. And they added another one with Connor McGovern, who also got injured in the first series. So it's like to put Dak back out there with already a fractured offensive line and a fractured thumb. And I guess they think Jason Peters is going to be the savior. I'm telling you, it's not going to last. Been there, done that, and I've seen it. He's a great left tackle 15 years ago. If he stays healthy for them, I will be highly surprised. But yeah, it's not getting any better for them, especially on the offensive line. So to me, that's another concern. It's like if you're going to put Dak back out there, you're not even putting him back out there with a good offensive line to then try to protect them a little bit more. So yeah, I'm just eating my popcorn, ready to see what happens next week.
Just trade for a quarterback and keep it moving, man.
I mean,
If you
I
see
heard
Dak
crazy
at the end of the year,
names
that's
going
cool. But
around. I don't know how accurate they are. I heard some crazy names. But they said they were looking to it. I don't know how serious they were of that. If it's just another thing to say, but I mean, I don't know who's out there. I mean, the one name I heard was Tyron Huntley, but Baltimore's not giving him up.
yeah, they're gonna have to figure that out. They're
Slightly
gonna have to
talked about
definitely figure that out.
Tyrod Taylor, but I don't know why the Giants will give them him. We're in the same division, so I can't really think of anybody else.
Yeah. Just sounds like poor planning. We're gonna move to the WNBA playoffs, and we wish Jerry and company the best, and whatever the decision under center may be. But since we last spoke, the Connecticut Sun beat the Chicago Sky 72-63 in Game 5 to advance to the WNBA Finals. During that time as well, Asia Wilson was officially named this year's most valuable player. So congratulations in order for her. Game 1 of the Finals was also played since the last time we spoke. On Sunday, a back and forth affair that came down to a late stop by the Aces as they held off the Sun for a 67-64 victory. Asia Wilson led the way for Vegas with 24 points, 11 rebounds, 2 steals, 4 blocks. Chelsea Gray added 21 points and 3 assists. They also got 11 points from Jackie Young. The Sun were led by Alyssa Thomas, who had a hell of a line, 19 points, 11 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Jonquel Jones at 15 points and 9 rebounds. Bree Jones added 12 points off the bench. Cardell, we'll start with you. Just the thoughts on the WNBA Finals. Now that I think we have Game 2 happening tonight as we're going through our recording. Then Game 3 will take place on September 15th, and then Game 4 is on the 18th. But just your thoughts so far on Game 1 of the Finals as we head into Game 2.
Style makes fights, and you can kind of see where the advantage is for both teams. I think that the Suns are just cool with just guarding Asia with Alyssa or Jonko, whoever gets back first, or whatnot, and they just kind of go at it. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to keep everybody else honest. The problem is certain players for the Sun, they just been off throughout the playoffs. And I'm talking especially about DeWanna Bonner and Courtney Williams. If they hit shots, then they win easily, and they take one on the road, which is huge. On the Aces side, their bench, their bench is in trouble because you can pencil in, like 12 and 5, 12 and 6 for Breonna Jones, and she pretty much was the only factor off the bench for either team, and she was huge and kept that game close for them, especially when when the water was cold and Courtney couldn't get it going. Hyman she found a way to be, put enough points on the board where they were in a winning position. But she also got to do a better job with Chelsea Gray. But Chelsea Gray been on one on playoffs, so I don't expect them to cool her off anytime soon, so to speak. Kelsey Plum has been struggling as well, but the main difference, last game they each had different parts where you can look at it and say they had an advantage in that area, and that's why it was a close game. But for me, man, the free throws, oh man, like that was, oh man. Look, Connecticut shot 3 for 5 from the line, and Las Vegas shot 16 to 19, with Asia shooting 12 for 14. That's why you have home court advantage. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but that's a hell of a difference in the free throw line. And it ain't like the Sun. They got all-star, all WNBA bigs on their side where they not getting fouled either. You know what I mean? But that further proves my point that DeWanna Bonner got to step up. She can't be 1 for 9, man. She done had multiple games like this throughout the playoffs. Like, that has to stop. That has to stop. Jackie Young didn't shoot well. He shot better than her. You know what I mean? And was scrapping and doing what she had to do. She had 3 points, man, and they need her. They need her in double figures if they're going to win the series. Because there's no around it, man. She has to find a way to be more consistent. Courtney's always streaking. That's her game. Like, she can explode, hit you for 20 to 30. Then she can be off or whatnot. But it's tough because she's chasing Kelsey. You know what I'm saying? She's having to switch on Chelsea. You know what I mean? So it's tough in that backcourt. It's not really a night off, man. It's not really a night off, so they're going to have to step up, man. But the free throws, the Suns got to force the action. I felt like they settled at times. Like after that second quarter where they dominated Aces, I think what was it, 21-9, something crazy, where they dominated Aces, they were attacking. They should have just stick to the script. Just stick to that. You're on the road, you may get some calls that won't go your way. You still got to keep trying and trying to attack, man. Because if you're not gonna attack and settle for jumpers as the game go along and the defense tightens up, those jumpers gonna fall short, and you're not gonna be anywhere close to the bonus where you can try to get to the line, get any easy points, and that ended up being the difference in the game. Asia was cooking, like, but she got a lot of points on the free throw line because she was attacking. So they had to play the personnel to do it, and I feel like if John Crow and Alyssa can get going inside, that'll force the Aces to have to come with doubles, and then that's when they'll open things up for the Courtneys and Courtney Williams and DeWanna Bonner to try to get their rhythm, man. It all goes hand in hand, man. But right now, the way it's looking, the way Asia and Chelsea's playing, they got to be the favorites, especially with the home court and something like that, because those two, they were unstoppable on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, man. I think the Sun they need to execute much better in the half court. A lot of their offense was generated from getting stops and getting out on a break. I think their half court struggles got a lot to do with DeWanna Bonner and Courtney Williams' offensive futility, man. Like if they're allowing the Aces to sit back in the zone, and it's just it's making it tough for John Quill and Alyssa to get things going on the inside because that's what they like to operate. But Connecticut, they stay in games because they're just tough and they bully you and they muck the game up and make it physical. Man, we saw the Aces put up big points against Seattle. They were in the 60s in game one. Because the Sun, man, they can control the game on the glass. You know, and that just kind of slows things down. And the Aces they responded. That second quarter was rough for them. And they started fast in the first quarter, but once Connecticut settled in and was able to impose their will on the game, that it was a dogfight from there on out. But like Cardell pointed out, Asia she just kept attacking, and Chelsea hit those timely shots. But for Vegas, man, they shouldn't be counting on Chelsea to come through in the clutch like she has been doing all playoffs. Because but eventually the ball's not going to bounce your way in that situation. But kudos to Chelsea, man. She's been coming through big time. So Vegas depth is an issue as well. They trotted out Dearica Hamby. She's obviously on a bad wheel, but Connecticut, they was just roughing them up, and Vegas needed that additional size. So it's going to be interesting, man. It was that game was there for either team to win, and Vegas made the extra plays to get the victory. But it wasn't enough for Connecticut to be discouraged, and it wasn't enough for Vegas to get overconfident because it's going to be a knockdown, drag out series, man. But Connecticut, they got to get going offensively because we've seen what Vegas can do on that end. And, as well as Connecticut plays defensively, it's going to be one of them games where Vegas just on one. And Kelsey Plum, she's been struggling shooting the basketball, but we all know what she's capable of. So if she comes alive, then it's going to be trouble, man. But, I think it's going to be a great series. I do got to kind of give the edge to Vegas. Like Cardell pointed out, they got home court. They already took one. And they have the two best players in the series, just based on how they've been playing so far these playoffs, man. Because Chelsea and Asia, they've been tearing people up, man, and it don't look like they stopping anytime soon. So you're gonna have to deal with them. And like I said, if Kelsey come alive, that's a whole nother set of problems. Then you got Jackie Young, who's capable. So yeah, man, it's gonna be an uphill battle for Connecticut. And if Vegas can just stay the course and withstand their physicality, then I think they got a good chance of taking this thing home.
All right, Octavia, we'll have this wrap up with you and your thoughts on the series as it moves forward.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet because I agree with everything both Cardell and Ray said. Um, Dewana Bonner just has to play better. There's no ifs and buts about it. Like there's no way she can play as bad as she's played offensively. And I mean, maybe she's thinking she's trying to focus more on the defensive side, which of course she needs to. But she has to be an offensive weapon for them. Without her, it's just not enough. Um, excuse me. And same with Courtney. Like granted, like Cardo says, she's a streaky player. She has to be on enough where she can support them. Rihanna Jones being pretty much the only person coming off the bench. I know Odyssey and I can't think of hers um, didn't score this last game either. And then I mean I don't even think I realized the free throw disparity was as bad as it was until Cardell said it. So like Connecticut they gotta body them like they are used to doing. Granted, you could tell they don't give up, and I think that's one great thing about them. I mean, because I know the game is already passed, but I mean the 18-0 run to seal the deal against the Chicago Sky was just wow. When I watched it live, I was like, they really just went 18-0 and closed out the game. And because I had pretty much already chalked it up and said, okay, Chicago going back, and they shut that down. So it shows you that they have the potential to do it. They can buckle down and get it done when it needs to be. But they got to focus. And Dewana has to, I really think Dewana has to be the key for that. She can't be it. Even if she's maybe not like, playing out of her mind or something like that, she has to be consistent. She has to at least give them somebody to guard. Because at this point, she's not really producing much. So it's not that much of a threat, in my opinion, to the Aces. And like you said, Asia Wilson and Chelsea Gray are just going ridiculous. They've been going ridiculous all season, all postseason. I know Chelsea felt a way about being left off the All-Star team, and you could tell that she went to work and making them regret everything with that. So I definitely agree with giving the edge to the Aces. I definitely think, honestly, this is their championship to lose. They should win. But if they let Connecticut overpower them and outmuscle them and basically want it more than them, it's going to be tough for them. So I definitely think it's going to be a tough series regardless. But I do give the edge to the Aces, but I'm just ready to see it happen at this point.
Yeah, I think everyone's looking forward to to enjoying the rest of the WNBA finals. It sucked that it was on at the same time as like the first official, full Sunday of football, because I'm sure it didn't nearly get the publicity that it needed. But it's hard for any sport competing with the first day NFL football. That said, I know the viewership has been up, and we're going to continue to implore people continue watching women's basketball as we always have. Go ahead.
You go, Dewana Bonner for the playoffs. She's shooting 33% from the field and 30% from three. Like that ain't gonna do it. And also another thing, look, this may be her last game and all that, but Candace can't go out like that, dog. You can't walk. Nah. She can't. I hate that because when you win, she could find a camera when she win. Like that's BS, dog. You get smoked, and we saw it. Mother time hitter. It's cruel sometimes. Sometimes it hits you right there in the battlefield, and there ain't nothing you can do. It might be happening to Bonner right now. That's why she can't get off. Like it's real. Like, you get in those 30s, and the way the women grind year round, for the most part, it's tough. It's tough on their body. So when they hit that mid 30s and stuff, you start seeing it. But you can't go out like that. You just walking off the court and stuff. You take the L, man. Show respect. That was just weak to me, man. You know what I'm saying? And I know you might be emotional, but you always got to be professional, man. You know what I'm saying? The athletes complain about everybody else being professional. They got to be held to the same standard, man. That's all I had to say.
With that, we're going to take our first break of the night. When we get back, update you guys what DC United's been up to, what they're doing at the moment, and then we got some rapid fire before we close things out. You're watching the Focus TV. Welcome back to the Focus TV. As promised, quick update on DC United, what they've been up to since the last time we spoke. They played Real Salt Lake on the road this weekend to a scoreless draw. They're now unbeaten in their last 3 games. That's the longest unbeaten streak of the season, including back-to-back clean sheets. So there's some positives as they wind down definitely what was a season that I don't think anybody saw this happening when the season started. You know, going through, you had 3 different coaches, like almost 2 totally different sets of targets in the transfer market. Whole lot happened. That said, on the road in Real Salt Lake, the home side had visitors under pressure for most of the night. DC United handled it pretty well. There were several timely saves made by keeper David Ochoa, who's in net for DC United. One of the recurring themes this season has been the Black and Red's failure to capitalize on opportunities. Ola Kamara, who has done a good job during his tenure here at DC United of scoring just overall and taking advantage of clean looks in the box. He had one of those clean looks. It was blocked by the keeper. One of the other things we saw this game, and this is something that we heard about Wayne Rooney when he was managing at Derby County. He's a big, he burst onto the scene. I think he was 16 years old in his own playing career. Burst onto the scene. Obviously, we know what he's done in his career. He's always there to look out for youngsters, giving them opportunities, talented youngsters that they have. DC United has done a great job of having several homegrown players throughout their academy. One of the ones this weekend who had their debut was 15-year-old Matai Akimboni, a 6'3" center back from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. He's the 3rd youngest player in league history to appear in a regular season match. He was filling in for captain Steve Birnbaum, who missed the match due to a yellow card suspension. Literally, while we're recording this week's show, DC United just started their match with Sporting Kansas City. It's 0-0 at the moment. We're literally like 5 minutes in. Then they'll return home to host Inter Miami CF on Sunday. Hopefully we'll see the return of Taxi Fountas because we still haven't seen Taxi and Christian Benteke on the field attacking for this club together. Yet it would be great to see them get some reps together. We both know the type of quality those 2 players have, and it's one of those old adages in sports. With good players, eventually they start to speak the same language. You just need to get them out there. So for DC United, I'm sure their fans would like to see that at some point before the end of this season. We're going to take our second break. When we get back and talk rapid fire, one of the big topics, the NBA just owners, man. Like, y'all have to do better with this. You're watching the Focus TV. We will return very shortly. Welcome back to the Focus TV. Cardell, rapid fire. What you got for us this week? I'm going to go ahead and pull up the first topic, but what you got for us this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring this up because I'm sure he'll get a little spirited. Phoenix Suns owner Robert Sarver suspended and fined $10 million at the investigation finds conduct clearly violated workplace standards. The NBA announced the punishment earlier today, saying the investigation found that during his time with the Suns and Mercury, Sarver used the N-word at least, keyword is at least, 5 times when recounting the statements of others. There also were instances of inequitable conduct toward female employees. The NBA said in a statement, including sex-related comments and inappropriate comments on employees' appearances. The NBA commissioned an investigation after ESPN published a story in November 2021 detailing allegations of racism, misogyny during Sarver's 17 years as owner. While the NBA stated that Sarver cooperated fully with the investigative process, these sources told ESPN's Baxter Holmes and Adrian Wojnarowski that he was unaccepting of the idea that he deserved a 1-year suspension and a $10 million fine for his behavior. Oh man, the punitive part of the process became largely acrimonious. Sources said the investigation led by New York-based law firm Washer Lipton found that Sarver engaged in conduct that clearly violated common workplace standards as reflected in team and league rules and policies. While I disagree with some of the particulars of the NBA's report, I would like to apologize for my words and actions that offended our employees, Sarver said in a statement through the Suns. I take full responsibility for what I have done. I am sorry for causing this pain, and these errors in judgment are not consistent with my personal philosophy or my values. I accept the consequences of the NBA's decision. This moment is an opportunity for me to demonstrate the capacity to learn and grow as we continue to build a working culture where every employee feels comfortable and valued. The Sun said in a statement that they are committed to creating a safe, respectful, and inclusive work environment that is free of discrimination and harassment. They added that at the direction of senior leadership, they have strengthened their culture and focused on creating a workplace where everyone feels included and valued. The investigation included interviews with more than 320 current and former employees as well as Sarver. It also examined more than 80,000 documents and other materials, including emails, text messages, and videos. The report was made publicly available online. For one of the employees says barely a slap on the wrist and shows us the league truly doesn't stand for diversity, equity, or inclusion. A former staffer who spoke to ESPN during the initial 2021 story said, "I'm grateful to have the validation after being told I was insane, a B, and being dramatic. That definitely lets me breathe a little. But I'm angry the league failed us when they had the opportunity to stand behind its values." The current staffer who spoke with ESPN from the initial report said, "I am so effing mad, so are many others." During Tarver's tenure, the investigation found that he, on at least 5 occasions, repeated the N word when recounting the statements of others, engaged in instances of inequitable conduct toward female employees, made many sex related comments in the workplace, made inappropriate comments about the physical appearance of female employees and other women, and on several occasions engaged in inappropriate physical conduct toward male employees, engaged in demeaning and harsh treatment of employees, including by yelling and cursing at them. The release noted that the investigation made no finding that Mr. Sarver's workplace misconduct was motivated by racial or gender-based animus. We're gonna start with you, Octavia. Had to get the details out so everybody know what we working with, man. But just your thoughts on the situation.
I mean, one, I'm not surprised. That's the first thing. Like, I'm not surprised at all. I would be surprised if this didn't happen. I mean, it's so tiring and it's just so draining to constantly have to hear stuff like this. And granted, I think one of the things that kind of stuck out to me the most was saying that these things that he were doing was stuff that would be frowned upon in common workplaces. So I mean, like, in my head, I'm thinking common workplaces, McDonald's, a retail store, something like that. You're telling me that you work for $1 billion entity, you own $1 billion entity, and this is how you conduct yourself in front of people who are, working for you and trying to help you in whatever your endeavors are as an owner, because I know everybody has different ones. Like, it's just crazy to me. And to think that they can just say whatever they want to say to somebody because of whatever they feel like their stature is just ridiculous. Because I always tell myself, I'm glad it wasn't me. Like, I really thank God at times that he has not put me in a position for an owner of a team that I work for to call me any type of name outside of Octavia, because I don't know what I'm going to do. And I don't understand how this just kind of keeps getting glossed over. The one thing in this statement that made me roll my eyes is when he said, "While I disagree with it, and these errors in judgment are not consistent with my personal philosophies or my values." Yes, they are. That is you every day of your life. I hate that cop out. If that's what you are, stand on it. So I know how to act accordingly around you. It's the back and forth with me. So if that's how you are, don't blame it on your lapse of judgment. Don't blame it on, oh, I had a bad day. No, you can't sometimes be a racist and sometimes not be a racist. You can't sometimes be sexist and sometimes not be sexist. It's what you are. So I think that this is the type of stuff that does consistently need to come out in the public, and they need to be documented and shown. But at the same time, I definitely think stricter punishment should be happening. Like, it wasn't, and maybe it's because nothing was caught on video. Maybe it's because nothing was recorded. I don't know if it was or not. But it took the whole Donald Sterling thing forever to happen because he got recorded saying these things. So had he been recorded, who knows what would happen? I mean, the situation that happened with Gruden, emails. But I mean, they said they have text messages. So to me, like, and I definitely want to read the report myself to see like the ins and outs and everything. I don't understand how he still is able to own a team. Like, how can an organization as the NBA who preaches this equity and inclusiveness and I mean, for goodness sakes, Chris Paul plays for the team. Like, do we not remember all of the stuff that Chris Paul is involved in? Like I would be honestly interested to hear what he has to say to play for somebody like that. So it's not surprising. It's frustrating at the same time. $10 million is nothing to this man. Like, it's a drop in the bucket. Like, it's probably a weekend in Palm Springs or something. So to me, it's pointless. I would be interested to see how severe this 1 year suspension is. Like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean you can't go to games? Does that mean that, like, he should be able to get no revenue for a year or something? I don't know, but it's just ridiculous at this point, and it's sad to say that I'm not surprised.
Right.
Yeah, man. People just need to cut the BS. Stop acting like this is shocking when it comes out, and also stop acting like it wasn't prior knowledge before it came out. Like, this dude been around the NBA for a long time. People knew. It just happened to be made public. Um, more accountability has to be given, all the way around, from the league to the team to everybody, because like they're letting somebody operate like this for years on end, just like with Donald Sterling. Like, it it was a known thing that's how he rolled, and until a recording was made public, that's when action decided to be taken. And to be perfectly honest, man, I'm gonna look at the players sideways too, because I mean you're in that situation, like, with the culture that pervasive, like, what's going on. And I mean, like, let me take that back. I'm not gonna look at them sideways, because you go, you do your job, what have you. I mean, but don't after the fact be be all fist in the air and all that type of stuff when you could have been that way from jump. Don't tell me they didn't know. They knew, man. It's not possible for them not to know. But and from the league standpoint, like, a 1 year suspension that's spitting in everybody's face. Like, this dude he should not be associated with the league going forward. He should not be able to earn another penny from the NBA. Like, it's just ridiculous, man. And then on top of that, he's not the only owner that's doing this type of stuff. So, I mean, I know it's always gonna be despicable people in the world, but they got to manage that better, man. And then with the league, where your messaging is all this empowerment stuff and diversity and inclusion and things like that. You got to walk the walk at some point. Fancy commercials and statements on jerseys and on the court, that means nothing, because it's not changing anything. So, I mean, like Octavia said, I'm definitely not surprised. It's going to be interesting to see how this fully plays out. But yeah, man, like, this is just how owners behave in professional sports, and something's got to be done about it, man. We got to hold people to higher standards than that. If you can't be a upstanding person, you shouldn't be in that position. And then add that to the fact he owns the Mercury too, like, and that's a team full of black women,
Full of drama too this season.
yeah. So yeah, it's just not a good look all the way around, man. So yeah, they need to get dude up out of there, at least for optics sake. Like, the 1 year suspension and a $10 million fine. Like, come on, man. Like, that's whatever, man. But we'll see. We'll see how Adam Silver decides to handle this. But yeah, it's just disheartening that this continues to happen. Maybe one day it'll be fixed. Who knows? But yeah, this is a crazy situation.
Do y'all remember? Do y'all ever recall Sarver speaking out about Brittany Griner's situation at any point? Yeah, go figure. Go ahead. Wilson. That's all I want to
say one thing because I'm reading through the thing now, and it said Sarver said the N word at least 5 times and repeating or purporting to repeat what a black person said. 4 of those after being told by both black and white subordinates that he should not use the word, even in repetition of another.
Why was he told? Why was her hands put on him? I'm gonna get into it. Go ahead, Wilson. I'm gonna get into it. Go ahead, Wilson.
I guess the first place we need to start is I think I get that you're an owner of a professional sports team, but NBA right now, be real honest, super NFL-ish with this response to this stuff. All right, keep it a buck. Like, I'm gonna be real honest. NFL wise, my face wouldn't move. I'd be like, a Tuesday in the National Football League. NBA, however, the way that you have presented yourself for the last 10, 15 years, so much better than the National Football League. Like, the thing with the NFL, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it slowly. I know how they go about their business is super slimy and trash. However, I even low-key respect the fact that they don't change it up. Like, I never expect anything different to happen. Like, when we hear this in NFL, do we expect something to come of it? No, it'd be noisy for a few days. A player does something, and the next thing you know, who's playing this weekend? NBA? Like, the past couple of years, all the things that have happened, like Ray said, all the campaigns you guys have put out, oh, man. You want to talk about, like, hollow words right now? And I'm not saying that they were hollow, but this happening and this response from the league, it's leaving that to interpretation at this moment. If you got, what was dude's name beforehand? Sterling. If you got Sterling out of there, right? So that meant you had a precedent. Before Sterling, you didn't have a precedent. Again, I'm not too bright, just saying. You had Sterling as an example.
Real quick, not to cut you off.
Go ahead.
This is and I had to be reminded of this earlier. The NBA didn't get Sterling out of there. They banned him. The same situation that's going on there with Sarver. His wife sold the team after all the drama hit, and sponsors started backing off, and the NBA put pressure on them like, y'all gotta sell. But it wasn't just the NBA saying, oh no, you can't be the owner no more. Mm-hmm. They did the same thing they doing now with him. It wasn't until sponsors started pulling out and they was losing money. And that's the thing. The NBA, every team, their revenue, they keep a certain percentage and the rest go to the rest of the league. So when they lose money, the league lose money. That's when the NBA usually becomes strong. I'm just trying to clear that up so people know what's going on. Go ahead.
Now, I appreciate that fact because this is one of those things where it probably, again, a precedent. This is probably why it's such a weak response right now because, again, to what you just said, nothing really happened last time until the money got messed up. Outside of that, we know how these leagues work. Until somebody starts messing with the money in the big pot, there's usually no movement. Then usually public pressure starts doing something, but really it's about the money. But again, having Sterling as a precedent, this response is unacceptable. And the worst thing is, I like what we learned in school, like 3 times something is a scientific method, whatever. This dude did 3 multiplied by 9, and we're here talking. What are we talking about? He did everything. Like, thank you, a habitual. Like, he passed habitual. Like, he just chose violence every day. He knew exactly what it was. And if you got people that aren't even, you have people that look like him telling him don't say it. You know how far left you're acting with that? Like, how wild you're acting with it? And then again, you own WNBA. Going back to this too, these leagues. You got another owner out of here. This ain't it. And then this is not even touching the Brittany Griner situation. Looking at both leagues right now. Y'all, everyone always want to be there tied together. So both of y'all, W and the one without the W in front of it. I don't know what the hell this is. It's disgusting. And there has to be a whole lot of work to be done before any of this is going to be deemed okay. Because if this is your initial response, again, whatever good faith you worked out prior to now, all that stuff is up to interpretation. Because this means you've known about this. And just listening to some of the quotes that you guys shared about employees, that means other people in the league knew about it. Y'all act like people don't talk. At some level, the league was aware of it. This isn't the first time the league heard of it. Like, it's, again, this is super NFL-ish. And, NBA, I don't think you could be looking down too far at the NFL right now, how you're acting right now in this situation. But, again, also not shocked.
All right. First thing for me is he needs to be gone. Point blank. Period. It shouldn't even, whatever you gotta do. I'm sure got to be some legalities with it, some legal you gotta do, because you can't just out an owner just like he's an employee. But they gotta get him up out of there. I hear people talking about, well, look at the players. Why should this have to fall on the players? Adam Silver, cool dude. He's done great things. But one of the main complaints you hear from fans and people connected to the NBA is he's too he's too far in the other direction of David Stern. Where David Stern was at times could be like a dictator, and boy, you be about the league. Adam Silver's too friendly at times where he need to put his foot down and really check this. These are one of those times. And it's real easy to do, and you won't really have any drama behind it because the evidence is there, the facts are there. So I don't understand why you don't do it. For one, with the N-word and all that stuff like that. See, this is why it's hard for me to stomach a lot of people. Because a lot of people in these situations love to come after the fact when the news break and complain and speak their piece. But you were in self-preservation mode when the issue was popping off, when you had the chance to really do something. So in a sense, a lot of people are just cowards. I want to use a strong word, but I'm trying to be nice. That's really what most people are. They're going to protect their money as well, okay? But when it becomes cool and the spotlight's on, then they want to be like, yeah, they want to come out the dark. Yeah, he did do that. I don't want to hear all that. You should have said this when it happened. Then it has legs to carry. You talking about 17 years of drama, dog? Y'all condone this stuff, man. Y'all literally condone it. I'm talking about the men and women who's in it. Now, I don't know about y'all. Like a quick story in college, we had this fake Eminem dude. Play basketball like school, mostly white schools. Okay, we had this fake Eminem dude who hang around and stuff like that. Certain teammates, whatever. He made a mistake of saying the N-word one day, and when I say he got the brakes beat off him, like man, they tossed him off the third level of our dorm. Went down there and it was just 10 dudes just stopping. You ain't even seen him. And when the police came, nobody knew nothing to the hospital. So it was nothing they could do. They knew something happened because he got effed up. That's what you do in those situations, man. To really set a precedent that won't be tolerated. We didn't hear N-word from any white folks moving forward. And it's a racist area out there in Allegheny and Frostburg, that western part of Maryland, West Virginia, all that. It's definitely not for us. So once you understand that, you gotta make a stand. You can't always just complain all the time. You either gotta take that risk of taking the L to make the stand, or be quiet and just keep taking it. And that's what my beef is with a lot of this. A lot of these people complaining now, or they've been reported on, that's being quoted. Y'all let it happen. So it falls for me a little bit. It falls on deaf ears, man. And like you said, 1 year punishment, you can't be around a team. Most of the owners in the league don't even come to games in the first place. That's just normal. What is that doing to them? For every Mark Cuban and Bowman that's at every game, the rest of them dudes just pop up when LeBron in town and KD and them in town. They not in town with Orlando on that joint. Like, what? Just tell me who won. Like, that's what I think you guys do. Y'all handle that. Y'all the basketball people. No, man, they don't. Come on, dog. It's just despicable, and this is so easy, man. And Wilson, I agree with everything you're saying. Now, all this activism crap, it looks fake. Yep. It looks fake. Now you right. You can't turn your nose up at the NFL. Hell, even baseball looking over there like, see, baseball. Y'all was mad at us. Look at y'all mans, though. I'm just saying, look at y'all mans. Look over there. I'm like, man, dog, like when I say this dude is beyond disrespectful, and I don't care how much money you got, you still a man, you still human, man. You gotta see if your chin's strong, dog. Like at some point, it just got to be checked out. I just want to see because he's beyond, and this is worse when you read the reports. I ain't want to put the real graphic stuff on there, but
that's what I was saying. Like I have it up, and I'm just like perusing through it, and I'm just like, God,
it's like college frat boy level behavior. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
And you be surprised with these rich man, that level, them rich people and all that. They act like that all the time behind closed doors, but then they get in front of a camera, act the most professional, sitting up like a stick up their ass and everything. Like, yes, speaking all proper, using words and never. As soon as the cameras go off, all right, man, woohoo, let's get the snorting, let's have some fun. It is wild. Look, I've seen it, man. It's like two different personalities, man. So no, I'm not shocked. I think this punishment is just weak. Don't put this on the players, especially like Chris Paul and them. He just got there. You know what I'm saying? Like Devin Booker was a youngin'. He grew up in the organization and stuff like that. I'm sure he's seen his fair share. Some of the vets probably said things. And also, you got a black GM and a black head coach on top of that. So this just looks bad all around, man. That's why I'm like, if you serious, if the NBA is serious about this stance of activism, equality, and integrity for the league, culture, and all that, inclusion for everybody, you have to get rid of him. Because if he's still owner when the season starts, and basically they just trying to let this year go past, so it's kind of a grace period where we forget. That tells you all you need to know about the NBA. And then it becomes bigger. It shouldn't just even be about the players. Fans need to stop supporting the NBA. Because the money, you got to jack up the money because y'all not taking it serious. Enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? Now, do I think that's going to ever happen? No, because I saw what happened with the NFL. Mm-hmm. But that's what needs to happen. I'm just saying in a perfect world. So it's just sick, man. One more question that I know we press for time. Karl Anthony Towns made a comment. He said, I think I'm one of the best offensive players the NBA has ever seen. One big question hanging over the Timberwolves, obviously paying the price that they did to bring in Rudy Gobert was, could Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns play together? Towns expressed extreme confidence when explaining why this pairing would work. He said, the last time I had something like this, obviously I had Gorgie Ding. I played power forward a lot of years in the NBA. Fans forget that it's okay. Go back to college. This is how I played in college. Willie Cauley-Stein is like 7'2". I don't know what they're missing in that. I think that Rudy's one of the best defensive players we've ever had in the NBA. He has the hardware to prove it. I think I'm one of the best offensive players and talents the NBA has ever seen. So putting us together gives us really a whole spectrum of talent to use. Towns he's very confident. He's definitely a versatile gifted offensive player and all NBA center. He averaged 24.6 points and 9.8 rebounds a game last season. What are your thoughts on him being one of the best offensive players and talents we've ever seen in the NBA? Start with you, Ray.
Man, just go out there and prove it. Like the words mean nothing. I appreciate the confidence, but go ahead and put that target on your back and be prepared for all the smoke in the world if you don't live up. It's just that simple. But people got to stop allowing people to talk this way when they haven't really accomplished anything. It's just ridiculous, man. Get some results. Because right now you just kind of sound crazy. He's gifted, no doubt, but one of the best talents the NBA has ever seen. Some winning would follow if that were the case. So hopefully he can live up to the to the lofty title he gave himself, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Hopefully it works out for him. But like I said, man, you don't go out in the first round again. Then after last season, wasn't he running his mouth during the series against Memphis, and then they end up going home?
He had big brother there though. He gone.
Oh yeah. The dog is gone, man. Like so, and Karl Anthony Towns don't have the most sterling reputation of being a tough dude. So and now people gonna be at your neck because you running your mouth. I just hope he's prepared for everything that come with making those type of statements. I'm going to be watching the season, with intent to see how one of the greatest offensive players the NBA has ever seen performs. So, good luck to you, Mr. Towns.
Wilson.
Why is he talking? Like, after Andrew Wiggins just won the championship, I want to hear you say anything. Like, nothing at all. You shouldn't be allowed to speak. Not a little bit. You sat there quietly, let everybody say all that crap that was wrong in Minnesota. They put it all on number 22's back, and you was cool with it. 22's gone. They accidentally get Anthony Edwards. You get another super talented wing. Then they accidentally get a really good GM. We seen somebody do some things somewhere else. Dude been there for 10 seconds and he gets you Rudy Gobert. Boy made things in 5 seconds. Connolly was like, I'm going to take Walker Kessler, put some of this together. Boom, Rudy Gobert. There's no more excuses, sir. I can see a world if you don't live up to what you're talking about, there'll be somebody new playing next to Rudy Gobert on Ant Edwards' team. I don't know why you're talking like this. It's not your team. Be completely honest. It's not your team. For the second time in your career, another wing is going to come in there. And unlike, I think maybe Wiggins is just much more quiet and going about his business, Ant talks a lot. I wish you the best. Don't live up to it if you want to.
You forgot one player. You also had Zach LaVine there. So.
Oh, my bad. Another really good wing that flourished after they left the wonderful wings of you being there. My gosh. Won a gold medal. Didn't need you for that. Andrew Wiggins. We have a Wiggins moment during a Golden State championship run. How about that? Where are your moments, Carl? Where are they? I'm going to say, you came in with all this stuff, and similar to Wiggins, you came in with a whole bunch of hype, and only one of y'all got a whole bunch of flack. We're still waiting on you. Again, in my eyes, is Ant Edwards' team. Let's see if you're there by the trade deadline. I just don't care. I don't care nothing you have to say at all. Hopefully you're there to play with Ant Edwards. Otherwise, it'll be Ant, Rudy, and whatever they give for you in a trade. Mess around with the Conleys if you want to. They've seen a Jokic. You are not there. So, you think if Dave saw Jokic every day, and you talking this talk like this, and you don't quite measure up to what they seen, they drafted that man. What they seen every day, like that standard's like up here, cat. You've been like here. We've been waiting for you to hit your potential. Joker here. Mess around if you want to, man. That man made Rudy Gobert appear out of nothing. You think he can't move you? Again, this Ant Edwards scene. Be quiet. I don't want to hear it at all.
Octavia.
I mean, first of all, I feel like these NBA players need something else to do in the offseason instead of proclaiming themselves as something, because, I mean, not too long ago we was talking about Andre Drummond proclaiming himself, and I need y'all to stop, okay? Because to me, if you have to tell everybody what it is, it's probably not that. Like, if that was actually a fact or something that a lot of people agreed with, that would have already been brought up before. Somebody would have had the conversation. It would have happened. I need you to relax. Like, I need y'all to, they need like a gag order in the off season. Like, stop talking about stuff that you have no business talking about. Like y'all already said, just go out there and play. Like, prove it. Because, I mean, granted, yeah, you had some good moments last year, but have you ever sustained them for the entire year? I don't think you have. It doesn't make sense to me. So I just need them to stop making these things up about who they want to be, who they feel they are in their dreams, and how they felt like they would be as a little kid, and now they're in the NBA and everything is amazing and I'm the best player ever. Like, or however you make yourself feel when you play NBA 2K and you give yourself all the special talents. I don't know. But let's come back to reality. Let's work hard in the off season and be quiet. and let's produce when the season starts. So I just want that to happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna just end this like, how are you one of the greatest talents and offensive players in NBA history, and you not even the best in that franchise history? That's Kevin Garnett, dog. He has MVPs. He has far more All-Star appearances. And for a lot of years, he was by his damn self going against Tim Duncan, getting jumped. He was getting jumped in the playoffs and wasn't talking and wasn't saying none of that. Just let's go for it. Let's go. Then when he finally got his home, they get to the Western Conference Finals running the Shaq and Kobe. So look, man, and he hasn't played with close to the talent you had in Minnesota in your short career throughout his tenure. He had a little moment with Stephon Marbury, Googly Allen on him. That was like 2 years. Then he went a minute without any time. Then they give him Sprewell Cassell. They get to the Western Conference Finals. Like, I'm just with y'all, man. Like, these youngins, man, that money's crazy. The ass kissing in their circle and their little bubble with what they live in just got their mind distorted from reality, dog. Like, no one right now, if they did a ranking of the best offensive talents, and notice he said offensive, when they need him to step it up defensive, that would help. See, remember, it goes back to what Wilson said, all that heat on Wiggins, he's solving all this. I'm like, nah. And Wilson know that. Like, y'all looking at the wrong dude. Do y'all watch these games? Because when Wiggins get beat, ain't nothing there. And this is a 7-foot dude. Now, y'all know my theory. If you can move on offense, your ass can move on defense. I don't want to hear that shit. So why the hell you ain't sliding over trying to get a block? You saw what Wiggins did to him last year, too. I'm just going to leave that alone. But he's only focused on offense. That's why they went and got Rudy for a reason. If you were big, you should take that person like, hold on, I got this. I got this inside. The paint mine. I don't need no help. But if you feel that way, cool. We just shut all this down. Ain't nothing coming in here. But I already got this handled. Why ain't he speaking on that? But like I said, if you do a ranking of the top offensive players in the league, I feel like KD's the best. Then you can throw Kyrie, Steph. There's a whole lot of names that pop up in that mix before you get to him.
Wait.
So how are you one of the best of all time, man?
Not even best.
You can't even say all time until you get not just a ring, a few rings. Then that's when you can start saying all time. That's when that start coming in that conversation, dog. Like Steph, he can start conversation. Is he the greatest point guard of all time? Yes, he has 4. Yes, he can. Finals, he had his too many accolades. No, you don't even have 1. I'm like, you ain't been out the first one. Come on, man. Like, do you
understand? Contest.
You're not even the best. When they talk about top big man, it's Jokic, it's Giannis, and Embiid. And then it's everyone else. They don't even mention you, dog. So once again, how are you the best offensive talent? One of the offensive talent, the best this league has ever seen. Who told you that?
Right.
Look. The one thing about basketball, well, athletes in general, for you to get better, I'm gonna say this, and I'm done. You have to be self-aware, really self-aware of where you are, so you can continue to get better. The fact that he feels that now, Minnesota should be worried, because it's like, dog, you got work to do. You're not there yet. And these are the statements where you have to let other people say that. And it starts with winning. You got to get some chips under your belt. Now, you have the talent to be that, but you're not that yet. You're not dominant. You're just putting up numbers. A lot of dudes put up numbers. But but you can put up numbers and no one feels it for real. It has no substance. It's like when I talk about the trades, it's only a handful of players. When they get traded, the whole league feels it. Everybody else is just like, word, all right, we deal with them when we play them. It don't move, it don't mean nothing. That's how your points feel. It's hollow. It just don't have the same effect. You know what I'm saying? So he needs to be more focused on now. The pressure's on, like Wilson said. You got he's gonna be better. D'Angelo Russell is proven. You got Gobert there now to really make up for your weakness, which is defense. So now the spotlight is really all on you. You can't go out in the first round. You just can't. You know what I'm saying? But now it's even harder now because the Clippers are healthy with John Wall. The Lakers gonna be pissed. They're gonna be trying to get back. You got a young Memphis team they're developing. Jamal Murray is gonna be back. You understand? Like the only team in the West that's done is Utah, because we all know they are. They have to win, but they don't give a damn about nothing. They have to live the French kid. You know what I'm saying? So we already know what time it is. But dog, you just gotta be real with yourself, man. And these statements and writing down preseason start next week. You know what I'm saying? Like media training camp and all that's next week and stuff. So you really gonna do this over here in the season, all right? And don't think Patrick Beverly gonna be your friend when you play. He's definitely gonna point this out. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna be interesting to see, man. But he got you. These dudes just got to hoop, man. And let the debate show say all that. Believe me, if you was that dude, we would say it. Just like we say Giannis and Jokic and them that dudes. It's real simple.
It's just not that hard. Just put in the work and then we can't disprove it. But dude, you're almost at the same place you were when you hit the league, whereas we're just waiting for the ceiling, the immense ceiling for you to reach it, and bro, you're getting older. Like what are we talking about here? Like we getting close to turning around and talking about what was. Like what are you doing? And I'm not saying that he's wasted his career, but once you jump out here with a statement like this, like I don't even think about you when we start talking about the best players in the league. And I'm not trying to be rude, just it's going to take me a while to get down there. What are you saying this out loud for? 2, there's a whole bunch of young bigs in this league. Boy, why are you putting that pressure on yourself? 3, you're not playing the 5 anymore. You be playing the 4. You don't think people about to come after you in space at the 4 in this league where all they do, oh, you don't defend well, come out here, buddy. Come into the deep water. Rudy can't protect you from way back there. I don't know what I don't know, man. But look,
Play the
go ahead.
and you gotta deal with Draymond. And you on this topic, yeah, that's gonna be fun.
I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't get it. Like you went from a place where at least like against some of those teams that are gonna put you in space, you can hide at the 5 to a degree. At the 4, sir, I hope you fully understand what this requires of you. They about to pull you in the deep water every night. But again, most talented offensive player, yada, yada, yada. I guess we'll see, man. But by the way, you averaged less points than Ant did in the playoffs last year. But, you know, most talented, yada, 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 whatever you wanted to say. The youngster averaged 25. You averaged 21. But again, your team, your world, whatever. I hope to see you at the trade deadline still, after the trade deadline as a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves, bro. I wish you the best. I don't see it. Ant, Gobert, and whoever your replacement is. I mean, I can see it, but I hope you can. Most talented player ever. Whatever you want to say. Want to thank you guys for tuning in this week. As always, Cardell has some very fun rapid-fire topics. Like Octavia said, y'all need to find something to do. Y'all mess around with Kevin Pete on Twitter. I wish y'all were just on Twitter saying stupid stuff instead of saying this stuff out loud. Like, just tweet it, and we'll get over it because I don't care what you tweet. Find a hobby. Talk to someone. Read a book. Go to the gym. I don't know, but this stuff is horrible. I don't know what was worse, Drummond or Cat, but again, like you said, Cardell, training camp stuff, like we're a week away from that stuff. Y'all are tripping, man. Thank y'all for tuning in this week. We appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week. Who knows what will have happened in 7 days. Again, the sports world has been so good to us from a topics perspective this year. I'm sure to continue. We'll check back in with you guys next week with the NFC East. Obviously, see where the WNBA finals are, where DC United is at, and whatever makes Cardell's list for rapid fire next week. And again, we're getting so like NBA season literally starts next week. College basketball is going to start like what, a week and a half later. It feels like with preseason and whatnot. Go ahead, Cardell.
Wizards next Tuesday on media day on Sale and Tommy. So we got that. We'll have that notes from that as well.
So looking forward to share all that with you all. And we'll see you guys next week right here on the Focus TV. Don't forget you can watch on our Roku channel. All you have to do is if you've got a Roku television or device is type in the Focus TV in the search box. It's that simple. Double click OK and you've added the channel. If you watch on DCTV, go to dctv.org in case you are outside of the city. And that way you can watch it from anywhere as long as you have, internet access. Again, dctv.org. The show airs at 10 p.m. on Fridays. Y'all have a great evening. Don't forget to get over to thefocustv.com. We'll see y'all next week.